Well, g'day fishers, welcome back to our Port Stephens weekly fishing report. Had some more rain, yes, doesn't stop raining. Could do just a report on rain at the moment. But anyway, the fishing is really good at the moment. We've got the lead up to the new moon, and this week has been fishing particularly well. Inside the bay, yeah, the water is dirty, but it's definitely fired the fish up. Spoke to Mick. He's been catching really nice mulloway during the week. He's been doing really well, actually. Catching some really nice fish up around that 10 to 14 kilo mark. Letting all those fish go. So some really nice mulloway getting around in the bay, especially around that Fane Cove and the back of Middle Island area there, that's for sure. So fishing for mulloway's been going pretty well. Mick's been saying that most of those fish he's been picking up on live baits at the moment. Key, get into that preparation, be prepared, get those live baits and fish those tide changes. Tide changes are the key to be successful at mulloway, that's for sure. Again, Paul off Port Stephens Estuary Charters, he's been getting amongst some mulloway and some really nice flatties as well. So the bay is definitely firing up. A few young lads, young Jay has been fishing down the Breakwell nearly every day, same with Kyo. Those young lads been getting some really nice fish. Young Jay was casting around the new Prodigy soft plastic, the cast paddle tail, getting some really nice trevally, silver trevally up to 55 centimetres. They're absolute hooter silver trevally just inside the marina there, so some good fish there. Still some nice brim around as well on the Breakwell since we've had all that rain, so still a few really nice brim getting off both the Breakwells, actually being the Anchorage and Nelson Bay. Actually spoke to Dexter during the week and he showed me a photo which we'll put up in our socials of a tarwine. Absolute beauty of a tarwine. I think it went about 42 or 43 centimetres. I haven't seen a tarwine like that for a long time. So an absolute cracker of a tarwine. So some mixed bags around in the bay at the moment, and this weekend it'd be definitely worth a shot on the flatties as well. Some really nice ones getting along the local beaches, being Nelson Bay Beach there just before flight point before the sanctuary zone, and also along Little Beach as well, especially the what we call the wheelchair wharf, which is the western end there. You'll get some really nice flatties there at the moment, and all along the beach there. But the key to it, fish that early morning incoming tide or late afternoon will fish really well. That's for sure, especially before that nor'easter comes up. Looks like we're going to have northerlies all weekend, but that's cool. That's summer weather to me. Get stuck into those northerlies. A few crabs starting to get around. So Neil, that does a bit of work for me, actually got an absolute hooter of a mud crab. So there's a few crabs starting to stir. That water temperature starting to pick up at the back of the bay, about 22 degrees, which means the muddies will start to move about. At the moment, we've got plenty of crab traps in stock as well as the big jumbos at the moment as well. So if you're keen on doing a bit of crabbing, it's definitely now's the time to start putting those pots in for sure. So that's a nutshell inside the bay this week. Some really nice fish being caught this week, that's for sure. Now, on the beaches this weekend, we're going to have those northerlies pretty strong all weekend. So those northern corners up towards the Spit at Fingal, Samurai, maybe Middle Rock will get out of that nor'easter, and also obviously the northern end of Barooby Beach, I should say, and Kingsley might be worth a shot as well. I think the swell's going to stay down, so the beaches will definitely worth a fish. Some worms, some live yabbies, there's still plenty of brim on the beaches, and obviously the salmon and tailor are still there. Lots of salmon around at the moment, so keen on having a spin, throw some of those mussel shots in the surf there, and you'll get a few nice salmon around at the moment. Definitely worth a mulloway. I think over the weekend with that incoming tide after dark, definitely worth a shot on the beaches. Whether you're going to throw some baits or some bigger paddle tail plastics, definitely worth a go this weekend. On the rocks, spoke to Pete and his young bloke, Matt. Been doing really well off the rocks, plenty of drummer, plenty of brim off the rocks at the moment. So those particular species, there has been some kings around, especially Boulder Bay. So if you're keen on throwing a few stick baits around or live bait, and there has been some really nice kings around as well. Some boys fishing offshore getting some kings as well. So definitely worth a shot off the rocks and beaches this weekend. But I think those northern corners will be the shot out of that northerly wind. So moving on to the offshore, some really nice snapper caught this week, some absolute hooters. Sent plenty of photos, some really nice snapper. Spoke to Chris, he called into the shop, got some gear, went up for the afternoon up towards Broughton. Got a really nice snapper, about 8 kilos, then got a really nice king as well. So king, well, he's a big boy, so it made the king look small, but the king looked like it was about probably 12 or 13 kilos, but he made it look like 5 kilos. He's a big boy, Chris. So well done, mate. Some really nice fish there. So a few good kings starting to get around. He did notice us feeding on small bait, but eventually got one to take a live slimy. So some really good kings around at the moment. The water's pretty clear actually, so it's fishing pretty well there. Further offshore, some good bark hot around on the edge of the shelf. I spoke to my mate Shane and Jamie. They got some bark hot on the edge there, not much current. Plenty of kings up at Allmark as well, so I don't know if we're going to get the weather, but early next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, looks good if you want to wander up to Allmark. There's been plenty of kings up there. We just got some new cast jigs in as well in the 250s. They've been the go-to for the kings. Also, spoke to Adam. He went out during the week and did invite me. Unfortunately, I had to work. Caught a nice striped marlin there on the edge of the shelf. So it said there was plenty of bait there. So it's not long now till we find that we'll start to see a trickle of striped marlin down the edge of the shelf there, and probably some bigger dolphin fish as well. He said the water's about 21.7 degrees, which is not too bad for striped marlin water. So any tick of the clock, we might get a few fish on the edge there. So all in all, it looks okay for the weekend. I think you're going to struggle offshore unless you get out early in the morning before that nor'easter, but definitely worth a shot either inside the bay, off the rocks, or off the beach. Anyway, that's it for this week, and we'll speak next week.